Hi, this is my video for the spiritual retreat. I just want to start off by saying that I loved this assignment and I loved that we got the opportunity to be able to just take time out of our day and just rest and just talk with the Lord. And I think it really helped me in so many ways. So I would love to share that with you. So first of all, I went to this state park, which is a few minutes from my house, and they have a lot of hiking trails and overlooks and just a view of the entire city and lots of trees. And so it was just a great place to get away. So I went there last week for a few hours. The first kind of probably hour, I just walked around the trails and I just disconnected. I put my phone in my backpack. I put on Do Not Disturb, so in case anyone were to try to contact me, I wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't come through on my phone. So just total, just getting away from just life and reality. And I also just kept singing worship songs in my head or even out loud if people weren't really around. And that just really allowed me to repeat those words of certain songs and just to rest in the truth of His Word. And after about an hour, I got to find this little area that had a bunch of picnic tables, and there was a picnic table kind of on top of one of the peaks of the mountains. And this was great because it was secluded. There wasn't anyone around. There was no one really around anyways because it was kind of a random time in the middle of the week. And so I just had that time to sit and rest in His Word. And so I wanted to start off by talking about the devotion I started with. I do this devotional every day, almost every day when I have time. And sorry, I was reaching for my book. And it comes from this book, New Morning Mercies by Paul David Tripp. And this has been my favorite devotional because it really speaks to me and speaks to just life and the things that we deal with in life. And so on this particular day, at the top of the devotion, it has like about a sentence that kind of summarizes what the whole devotion is going to be about, but also just a sentence of encouragement. And so this one said, "Prayer is abandoning a life of demand and complaint, recognizing undeserved blessing, and giving myself to a life of thankfulness." Gosh, I loved that. I loved just how it started about how prayer is really just like a time where you talk. It's just a conversation between you and God. And it's abandoning this life of constant demand, constant complaint, just those, realities of life that we have to go through in this real world. And just recognizing just the blessings that we do have. I feel like so many times throughout the day, I just take things for granted and I'm not filled with thankfulness, but this sort of reminded me to be thankful. And the scripture that I really kind of related this to was in Matthew. And it's just that simple scripture that talks about the Lord's Prayer. And I just want to go ahead and read it. It's Matthew 6, 5 through 15. "And when you pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, that they may be seen by others. Truly I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you pray, go into your room and shut the door, and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you." I really love that part of Scripture because it talks about in verse 6, go into your room and shut the door. I think there's so many types of ways to pray and settings that people pray in, and there's no right or wrong way, but I love that it says, like, go into your door, shut the door, and it's a conversation between you and Him. It's just your secrets are with Him, and because He knows you. So I really love that scripture, and kind of going through those questions of the first one being like, what attributes of God what attributes of God came to my mind throughout this experience. And I think the first couple are compassion and love. The Lord loves us, and I think a lot of times I feel unloved. I felt hurt. I feel hurt every few weeks by a person, whether that be someone I work with, someone I'm family with, someone I'm friends with. I just sometimes feel unloved by them. So it's just such a great thing to realize that, hey, someone loves you and it's the Lord, and I love that. It gives me so much peace and so much hope. So I was just thinking about that through my spiritual retreat of like, gosh, the Lord loves me so much. He loves me. And it just affected me really positively of like, wow, how can I go away from this and not be happy about that? Just the compassion that he has for me. Kind of going to speak about this later, but I've had a really hard year, and leaning on the Lord is pretty much what I've done and what's gotten me through it. So just the ways that the Lord has been so compassionate in my life. And then the next one, like what the works of God did I focus on during my time? It really was just where I was. I was sitting in this place that was just surrounded by trees, and it was a beautiful day. It was probably the prettiest day in like a month. It wasn't really hot. It was perfect temperature. It felt like fall. And I was like, gosh, I want to be outside. And it really made me like appreciate this, what God has created. And I got to see this kind of overlook of the city. And I don't live in New York City. I don't live in Chicago. I don't live in LA that have iconic skylines. I live in Alabama, and I appreciate it was a cityscape of downtown, and it was beautiful. And no matter, just because I don't live in those places, the place that I do live is so beautiful, and God made it for a reason. So it really made me appreciate my city and what the Lord created. I focused a lot on prayer and devotion, and just was asking God through prayer, like, Lord, just allow me to trust your timing. Please just show me kind of where you want me to be, because I think right now in my life it's kind of in a weird situation of I have a couple part-time jobs, I'm also in school, but I want to do full-time, I think, and I think just allowing myself to pray through that and just focus on my relationship with him through timing. And I think that's what I have a hard time with. I think I just want to know what's next. I think we all want to know what's in our future, who we're going to marry, what job we're going to have, eventually where we're going to live. And I think I'm a lot of times not patient. And gosh, the Lord is so patient, and his timing is so much better than what mine is. And I just have to trust that. So I think that affected me a lot, because this past year has been really hard of moving a state I lived in for 6 years, leaving all of my friends, but coming to my family and understanding that, like, this is the time. I think this is the Lord's time. The Lord is calling me home, and this is my home for now. And I think kind of talked about, another question was what personal characteristics I wish to improve. And I really wanted to improve on anger and patience. I just talked about patience, but anger, I tend to get angry about just things that have happened in the past. And so just asking the Lord, like, just allow me to not be angry. Allow me to hold fast to why those things happened, and to not react so quick, but be thankful for what came out of those situations. And so I think I made just the past few days of like praying that and knowing that, like, I have to make these steps in order for this to change. And so think through that and through prayer. That will really help. And then the last couple questions, like, I think this experience affected me a lot. It showed me that I need to take time out of my day to just focus on what the Lord has given me and just again to that devotion of, pray even when we are so busy and so consumed with life. And I think, I think this time really allowed me to understand that it is so important to take time out of your day to do this. And I think just this experience will really allow me to help clients who maybe are going through crazy times and not stopping, and maybe just so overwhelmed with their job, kids, husband, and just letting my clients know that, hey, take 2 hours, take 30 minutes, take whatever time you need, but have this time unplugged and with the Lord. So I just really love this assignment and have enjoyed this class, and just taking this time to really understand who I am and reflect on who I am and what the Lord wants me to be. So I thank you, and that is my experience for my spiritual retreat.